Brockway.
Hey, Coach. Happy pre-New Year to begin.
Same to you.
Yeah, the road. Obviously, you guys were very competitive in 2 games, but couldn't quite get over the hump. What do you think it's going to take this time in approach and mindset to kind of achieve that first road win?
Well, just put a 40-minute game together. I mean, I thought against Wisconsin, we played all the way up until a minute and 40 when we up 2 and got the ball and we lose the ball. They come down and hit a 3. We didn't recover from it. So to me, I mean, when you out on the road, you got to play all the way through. You can't think that you're just going to win it in 38. It's a 40-minute game, man. And we just didn't complete the game against Wisconsin. So we got to put a 40-minute ball game together, period, from beginning to end.
Peaks.
Hey, good morning, Coach. You talked a lot early on in the season that you had to work quite a bit on defense. I wonder if you've now been able to pivot to work a lot more on offense, especially given a little extra practice time right now.
We still we do them both still. I mean, defense is a high priority, and our offense is a high priority. So we kind of mix and choose in practice, each day that we step out on the floor, which way we're going to go. And, yesterday we had about almost a 3.5, 4 hour practice with film session. And there was a little mixture of defense and offense. So, I mean, that's pretty much every day when we step out on the floor.
Coach, can you tilt the screen a little bit? I think your head's cut off. There we
go.
go.
We go. Okay.
Tom Brew.
Mike, I know in NBA games, when the games get more important and such, that rotations and bench minutes can sometimes shrink. Have you thought much about how you're going to handle that now as you enter the Big Ten season and games will be closer and tighter as such? You still want to try to play 9-10 if you can, or will that start to shrink a little bit?
Well, it all depends, just the flow of the game. I mean, I never really go into a game saying I'm going to play 9 or 10 guys. I mean, fortunately for us, we've had an opportunity to do that, but it's going to be based on the game and who's playing well and how I feel in terms of who's going to be in the rotation. So I like to play 9, 10 guys. 10 guys. It'd be great for our ball club, and we've done that some this season. But again, the Big Ten and the game itself is going to put you in a position to make that decision.
Tyler.
Hey, Coach. I hope you're doing well. You've now coached in New York and at IU during the pandemic. I was wondering, is there anything maybe outside of the court that has helped you kind of get through this tough time?
Again, man, I mean, there's not a whole lot you can really do about it. I mean, you just try to, keep your players and staff and people around you safe. But this thing it's an unknown thing again. I mean, hell, you can be in a room sitting with people and you might have a person in there that has it and the other 4 or 5 people don't have it. So, I mean, I just, it's hard to explain, what's going on, but, for the most part, we've been very ahead of the game in terms of how we're trying to stay away from it. I mean, our players have been pretty secure. We try to mask up and do the things that we're supposed to do now. But again, it's just, I can't control the players once they leave the gym and go out and get a bite to eat or go, mingle around campus with friends. I mean, it's just, again, tough times, man. And everybody's just got to realize it and try to do the best they can to stay safe.
Dustin.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to see if you've got just how far along Trey Galloway is at this point, if you're expecting to have him available on Sunday, or if not, what his timeline looks like at this point.
He won't play Sunday, but yesterday was the first time he's had some contact. And it wasn't a long period of contact, but we got him back out on the floor just a little bit. I mean, he's been doing the endurance stuff that we do every day for a little while now. But he won't be ready for Sunday. Hopefully the Ohio State game, we'll have him back. But, we just got to keep gauging it day by day to see where he is and how he looks.
Alec.
Hey, Coach, are there like one or two things that you can kind of pinpoint through non-conference play that you guys really need to improve on going into Big Ten play?
Well, we, not turning the ball over is going to be one. Right now, that's kind of been our problem. We've been a lot better the last 5 games, and making free throws, guys. When you're in close games, you look at the 2 games, Syracuse and Wisconsin. A couple of possessions here or there. We probably sitting here 12-0, and free throws had a lot to do with it in the Syracuse game as well as turning it over, and missed free throws coming down the stretch in the Wisconsin game. So those are 2 areas that I like to improve in as we start to navigate through the Big Ten season.
Alex.
Hey, Coach. Hope you're doing well. Just curious.
You as well.
Obviously, you had some unexpected time off with not having the game on Wednesday. What maybe did you focus on with that time in terms of practice? You mentioned you had a longer practice and a longer film session. What was maybe the emphasis of that time, that extra time you had together as a team?
Just, when we watch film, we always concentrate on things that we don't do well, and then always put kind of a feel-good tape of a lot of things that we've done well. That's how you teach through tape. You can't always smack them over the head with all the bad things, but you can't hide it. You got to show it, and to me, it's teaching. And then you give them the things that they've done well in correlation with, the things that they've done terrible on the floor. So, that's how we teach through tape. And then yesterday on the floor, we just, we're working on our defense and we're working on the offensive end to get better, man. That's them the only 2 areas that, execution is a big key when you're talking about developing a team. And that means execution on both ends of the floor. So you got to work in those areas to get better every day that you step out there.
Mike Schumann.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, I'm curious, going back to the offense, do you feel like you've had to adjust the style of play that maybe you had in mind when you took the job to fit the specific strengths of this team as you've come to know it?
Well, that's all coaches do. We, you play to your strengths. You try to find ways of, getting guys to be better in terms of their offense. Our offense is not that bad. Considering, I never thought we would be in the position where we are in terms of the 3 ball. I didn't know who would be able to really make it consistently. And, we're shooting right at 37%. I would like to get to 40, but, that's work in progress. We're averaging right at 77 points a game and giving up 61. That's a plus 15. That's great when I look at, our offense versus defense. So the only downfall offensively, I think right now is us, making free throws and finishing possessions. When something's called, we're better when we call something offensively, because then they know it's coming. But when we're trying to play on the fly, a lot of times that's where a lot of our mistakes come. And we just got to get better in that area, because, you're not going to be able to run your set all the way through every time. And there's always going to be some breakdown. And then you just got to freelance and feel good about, how you freelance and play offense. And we're not there yet in that area.
Nathan.
Good morning, Coach. I was just curious, generally speaking, according to KenPom, Penn State plays very slowly this year. How does your game plan and preparation change generally against a team that likes to slow the game down compared to one that wants to run up and down the court?
It's not going to change any. They slow it down. We got to get stops, and they're slow down offense. I'm watching them on film. They they move around. Their pace probably is not that high, but they move the ball around. They try to get up and down and make plays. They got pretty good point guard play and perimeter play. So, and then they got a big guy inside that plays the perimeter and inside as well. That triggers a lot that they do. So, I mean, this is not a game that, we can go in and take them lightly. They played Ohio State, early pretty close, and then Ohio State eventually, made the spread in the game. But I like their team. I mean, I think they're well coached, and we got to put a 40-minute game together, man. I mean, there's no gimmies I don't think in the Big Ten. I mean, when I look at these teams, man, everybody can beat each other. So, we got to be ready to commit ourselves to 40 minutes when we go in there to play.
Dustin.
Rich, I'm working on a piece on Tamar Bates. I just want to kind of check in on your just evaluation of him, how you feel like he's handled his role in particular. Obviously, he's continued to produce for you off the bench. What do you like about just what he's brought for you guys so far?
Well, I mean, he's kind of been up and down a little bit, and that's no knock. He's a freshman. I get it. He's has the injuries. I thought coming back from the Bahamas when he had his injury, that kind of set him back a little bit. But we're going to need Tamar because he has shown that he can make plays and do things for us from an offensive standpoint. We got to get him better from a defensive standpoint, being able to defend the ball and not, give up dribble penetration so quickly. But it's still work in progress with him. And, hey, the good thing and the beauty about Tamar, he comes to work every day and he puts in the time, and he'll continue to grow, but we got to help him speed the process up, I think.
Last question, Tom.
Mike, I asked Trace this last week or so, but I was curious to get your opinion on it. When Michael Durr showed up here, we kind of figured when the Big Ten season rolled around that you might want to try to play him and Trace together, but we haven't really seen that in games yet. Trace did mention you have done that in practice some. When you're going up against some of these big 7-footers in the league, will there be times where we see Michael Durr and Trace Jackson-Davis on the floor together?
You might. I mean, I haven't played two centers like that pretty much in my whole career as a head coach. Because we've always had a nice, big power forward and a center in an NBA that could pretty much hold their own. That's hard for me to even say right now. I look at Purdue and they played the big 7-footer and they come out back with Williams at the backup center, and Mike, and I'm going to try Mike on their second center, their second unit, like we've been playing. But for Mike, we just got to get him probably in a little better shape, and he's been working in that area based on him coming off the injury that he had. But he will play now, that we're getting ready to go through this Big Ten and deal with some of these big guys, because he's got a big body and he likes to bang a little bit too. So, he just got to be ready to go, because I'm going to play him some, but I don't know if I'll play them two together. I just don't know that yet.
All right, guys, thank you much. If you got my email earlier, I'll